City having to get in crossing opportunity as well. Drilled in. It's just behind, not made. All the way through to Jay. Scores! And Jay, the captain, has put Exeter City in front. We're 10 minutes away from one heck of a party here at the park. It went all the way through to the captain. It was a very cool finish. He slammed it through the legs of the goalkeeper. Barrow. There goes the goal kick. There goes the full-time whistle. Exeter City are back in League One. The fans run on. The substitutes run on. Matt Taylor celebrates down by the touchline.
My first thought was, where's the big bottles of champagne? Where are we going to go tonight? And it was a feeling of kind of a lot of years of trying, a lot of years of missed opportunities, a lot of trips to Wembley that didn't go to plan, a lot of disappointment at Wembley, a lot of crying at Wembley. And yeah, it was just a kind of weight off particularly my shoulders. It's something that's been in touch and distance of us as a team, us as a club for a lot of years, and to finally do it with a couple of games to spare and to do it in that season was pretty special. We had a really good group of players, a good core of the team, and a really good changing room. And listen, I think after about, I think the first game of the season we got tanked by Leyton Orient 3-0, and I think a few of us were a bit shell shocked, and we thought Leyton Orient would go on and be probably the best team in the league, but it turned out to be the opposite. So I think after for about 10 games we kind of knew there was something going to happen this season, and yeah, it was a special night.
5 Barrow shirts wait in the middle. Over it comes towards the near post, goes a long way, and it's gone straight in. I don't think anybody's touched that. If they haven't, that goal will not be allowed to stand.
There was a lot of scenarios through the season where things were going against us, where we were winning 1-0 late on, where we were getting the rub of the green, where we were getting the luck when maybe previous years we weren't getting it. I think when Leyton Orient come to Exeter and we beat them 1-0 with a set piece, and we're 3-1 down at home to Harrogate, and we come back and win 4-3. I think you can sense something's going to happen. But to be honest with you, when that free goal went in, I still blame Cam Dawson. I'll always blame Cam Dawson for that goal. So I don't think anybody panicked. It was in our hands. I don't think we were ever going to lose that game. And listen, it wasn't a great game of football. It was probably one of the worst games of football I'll play in quality wise. I think everybody was that kind of nervous and anxious about the game. So, but yeah, there was no panic from us or from the manager or the coaching staff at half time or anything like that. And in fairness, our equaliser was a little bit of a free goal and a bit lucky as well. So yeah, but I don't think anything else was going to happen that night.
Penalty here as well. The last one caused all sorts of problems. That one's dealt with well enough though by Diabate, and now Phillips can sprint away. They could just have a run through on goal here if he times it right. Still going here, Phillips up towards the edge of the penalty area. And he tries a shot, deflected and in.
Listen, Kieran scored a couple of decent goals for us that year. I remember he scored I think it was his first goal away at Bradford in the FA Cup, maybe I think it was, or might have been the league. But that was a big goal for us. Obviously an element of luck, but listen, like you said, it lifted the whole ground. It kind of lifted us as players to kind of get us back into tune and get us switched on again. And like you say, I think everybody knew when the ball got crossed into the box and it landed at MJ. I don't think anybody else expected anything different.
Having to get in crossing opportunity as well. Drilled in. It's just behind, not made. All the way through to Jay. Scores! And Jay, the captain, has put Exeter City in front. We're 10 minutes away from one heck of a party here at the park. It went all the way through to the
I don't think I'll ever forget that. I was about 40 yards away, and I don't think I'll ever remember the cross coming in, and the kind of defender kind of tried to clear it, but like misjudged it, and MJ's taken on his chest and just kept it low. And I was a little bit disappointed in the celebration. I think he could have done a little bit more. He's got a backflip in the locker, and I think if there's ever a time for you to do a backflip, MJ, it's then. But yeah, listen, it was a fantastic moment, and I don't think anybody else could have wanted anybody else to score.
Short to the edge of the penalty area. Jay is lining up for a shot from him. Collins helps it on for Jack Sparks. Sparks still there. Sparks now he goes for it. Jack Sparks has scored in the last minute, and City have turned it around. First goal of the season for him.
I think the biggest kind of turning point was Sparks' goal. I think if we don't win that game, I think God knows what happens throughout the season, and it kind of gave us even more confidence and more belief that when you're going to get promoted, things like this go your way. And I think if you ask anybody from Forest Green or from Port Vale, a lot of things went their way that season, and Bristol Rovers as well. So you need a lot of luck, and I think I'm not saying Sparks' goal was luck or it was fluke, but I think for us to come back from being 3-1 down was a little bit of luck, a little bit of quality, and the big bank sucked a couple of goals in. So I think the turning point in that season was probably that game where we were so far behind and we were so far off, but we kind of managed to pull it back in our favour and win the game. A lot of things went against us off the pitch last year. Travelling to games, taking 8 or 9 hours to get to Carlisle and stuff like that. So the one thing I've always praised kind of Marcus and the previous manager, and even this manager, is we always bring good players in, but I think we always bring good people in as well. So I think if it was any other team with any other players, I think they wouldn't have stayed together if stuff like that happened. So that was the core of how we've been over the years. We've been together. We've always had good team spirit. We've always had a good change room. So, and that's the basis. That's the core of even before you step on the pitch is building a good change room. So. That's definitely something that we had last year. That's something the manager drove into us. And listen, he didn't bring any bad eggs down. I know there was already one here in myself, but he didn't bring anybody bad into the group, and that kind of showed in the way we go about our business and the way we are as people, and that was first and foremost last year. And I think when you're good people, I think luck comes your way. There are always the moments, and it's always the season that when you retire or when you're in your late 50s and 60s, you always look back at them good times. Listen, I'll look back at Wembley's and think about how good the day was, how great the experience was to play in front of 60,000. 2 years in the bounce, twice at Wembley, to sit in that change room at Wembley, and the whole build up of that was fantastic. But when I retire, I'll always look back on promotion seasons and when you've achieved something, and I'll always be in touch with people you've achieved something with. It's always a special time, and yeah, it's definitely the most memorable season. And listen, who knows what will happen in the next couple of seasons. The manager wants us to kick on and push for the playoffs next season and the year after. So who knows what's to come, and hopefully we can do the same.